A billionaire once laughed in my face and said 3 words I will never forget. Call whoever you want. At that moment, I had $27, a dying company, and nothing left to lose. So I made the call. But when the voice on the other side spoke, the millionaire suddenly stopped smiling. Because the person on that phone knew a secret about my life that no one in that room expected. And the truth behind that call started 3 years earlier. With a woman, a broken car, and a dream everyone said would fail. I still remember the sound of that laugh. Sharp, arrogant, echoing across the marble floor of his office. Call whoever you want, the millionaire said, waving his hand. You will still lose. My palms were sweating. My bank account held $27. My company was collapsing. My reputation was already broken. 3 years earlier, I was sleeping in my car with a thin blanket and a laptop that barely worked. Cold nights smelled like gasoline and cheap coffee. Every investor had rejected me. Some laughed. One man said my dream was stupid. That night I almost gave up. Then she found me. Lena. She sat beside me on the curb, while rain tapped softly against the street. You are not poor, she said gently. You are only early. Her voice carried warmth, like sunlight after a long winter. She worked 2 jobs. She sold her small gold bracelet so I could register the company. I remember the metal smell of the factory floor, the sleepless nights, the burning ache in my chest. I failed again. Partners betrayed me. Employees left. Debt grew heavier than hope. Once, in anger, I told her she deserved someone stronger. She looked at me with quiet eyes and placed the phone in my hand. Call the person who believes in you most, she said. Now, years later, that same phone rested in my shaking fingers, inside the office of the man who mocked me. The millionaire leaned back in his chair. Go ahead, he said. I dialed. The room was silent. 1 ring. 2 rings. The smell of leather and expensive perfume filled the air. Then, the call connected. And when the voice on the other side spoke, the millionaire suddenly stopped smiling. The room grew strangely quiet. Even the ticking clock on the wall sounded louder than before. I held the phone tighter, my fingers trembling slightly. Then the voice came through. Calm, steady, familiar. Son, I am here. The millionaire frowned. His confidence began to fade, like a shadow shrinking in the morning light. I placed the phone on speaker. The voice filled the room, warm and composed. I have been waiting for this call. The millionaire leaned forward. Who is this? He asked sharply. The voice answered with quiet dignity. I am the chairman of the investment group your company has been trying to partner with for 2 years. Silence fell like heavy rain. The millionaire's face slowly lost color. I could almost hear his thoughts racing. 4 years. He had chased that partnership. 4 years. They had ignored him. But somehow, they knew me. I looked down at the floor, remembering long nights in the tiny office. The smell of dust and burned coffee. The glow of my laptop at 3 in the morning. I remembered Lena, sitting beside me, reading contracts, learning numbers, believing when no one else did. The voice on the phone continued. We have watched his work for a long time. My chest tightened. The chairman spoke slowly, each word landing like a quiet hammer. He builds with patience. He treats people with respect. And he does not abandon his vision. The millionaire shifted in his chair. For the first time, he looked uncertain. Then the chairman added one sentence. That made the air feel electric. We have decided to invest. My heart skipped. The millionaire stared at me, as if seeing me for the first time. But the chairman had not finished speaking. And there is something else. You should know about him. The room held its breath. The chairman's voice remained calm. But every word carried quiet weight. And there is something else. You should know about him. The millionaire leaned forward slowly. His fingers tightened around the edge of his desk. What is that? He asked. A faint smile touched my lips. Because I already knew. I remembered the nights Lena and I spent studying business reports under a dim lamp. The smell of instant noodles. The scratch of her pen on paper. The quiet determination in her eyes. The chairman spoke again. 3 years ago, a young woman visited our office. My chest warmed. She waited 6 hours in our lobby. Just for 5 minutes with me. The millionaire frowned. I remember her very clearly. The chairman continued. She did not talk about money. He paused. The silence in the room felt heavy. She talked about a man who refused to quit. My throat tightened. I could still see Lena that night. Walking home in the cold wind. Her shoes worn thin. Her hands trembling from exhaustion. The chairman's voice softened. She told me he slept in his car. But still helped strangers. She told me he failed many times. But always stood up again. The millionaire looked at me. As if trying to understand something impossible. And before she left, the chairman said slowly. She placed a small envelope on my desk. I remembered that envelope. Inside was the last of her savings. The chairman continued. She said, I am not asking you to invest today. The room was completely silent. I am only asking you to watch him. My eyes burned slightly. Years of struggle. Of rejection. Of quiet sacrifices. Suddenly felt visible. Then the chairman spoke again. His tone carrying new gravity. And today, after watching him for 3 years, I believe we made the right decision. The millionaire's confident posture had completely disappeared. But the chairman had one more sentence to say. One more thing you should understand. One more thing you should understand. The chairman's voice grew firmer. This man you are sitting across from is no longer asking for opportunity. He has already created it. Silence wrapped the room. The millionaire slowly leaned back in his chair. The arrogance that once filled his eyes was gone. Replaced by something quieter. Respect. The call ended with a soft click. For a moment, no one spoke. Then the millionaire stood. He walked around the desk. Slowly. As if measuring every step. I laughed at you, he said quietly. His voice no longer carried pride. I judged you by your shoes. Your empty pockets. Your small company. He paused. But I did not see your strength. I felt the weight of every sleepless night. Every rejection letter. Every cold morning in that parked car. And I thought of Lena. Her tired smile. Her gentle voice. Her stubborn belief. The millionaire extended his hand. This deal will change industries, he said. But your story. That changes people. I shook his hand. Not with anger. Not with pride. Only with quiet gratitude. Because the truth was simple. Money did not build my success. Faith did. Faith from one woman who believed in me when the world saw nothing. Later that evening, I found Lena waiting outside the building. The city lights reflected in her eyes. I told her everything. She listened quietly, then smiled the same soft smile that once saved me. You see, she whispered. I told you. You were only early. In that moment I understood a truth that every dreamer must remember. Success is not born in comfort. It is forged in struggle, built by patience, strengthened by love. And sometimes, the person who believes in you before the world does is the real reason you rise.